No, I enjoyed very much being a part of Snap and hope to, get back into it. With between founding AbleVoices and then, shortly after COVID, just kind of throwing a big old wrench into it, I've been very much out of the loop. So, and not doing as much as what I used to do in the past, but I think it's always a good thing to come back to that. So thank you all for having me. I know it's something different than you anticipated, so hopefully I can do it justice for the little bit of time that we're together. But my name is Jen Vogus, like Emily said. And just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I am the parent of two children. I have a 19-year-old son who has a disability, and then a daughter who is 11 and does not have a disability. And I have a teaching background. I taught high school science for a number of years and then tutored for a number of years. Got into photography because of my son, Aiden. He does not communicate verbally. So when he entered kindergarten, I was just trying to think of a way where he could share about himself across his school day with teachers and peers. And so I just started taking pictures, had a DSLR camera, but really just used it on auto, didn't think much about, photography, just pressing the button and capturing what could convey his interests, whether it was Spider-Man or, the cool train museum that we visited, or he's into motors, so airplanes, motorcycles, trains.
And Dave Matthews.
What's that?
And Dave Matthews.
Oh, and Dave Matthews. Yes, yeah. He's a big music guy, so it's fun as he's gotten older. When your kids embrace the same music that you enjoy, it's very much a good thing. So I was just like, well, what's this button for? What's that button for? And really started getting into the technical and artistic aspects of photography. So it's become kind of another passion of mine. So what I would like to do tonight, now that you know just a little bit about my background and how all these things kind of came together to form this nonprofit organization, is let me share my screen, because it's more fun to look at pictures than it is to look at me. So, oh, I can't share. Can you make me a co-host, Carl? There's three little dots in the upper right-hand corner of my rectangle, and I think you might be able to make me the co-host there.
Or you could just do share screen down at the green.
It wouldn't let me.
No, I'm saying, Carl, you can hit share screen and say and enable everybody else.
Okay, yeah, good point. But what I'm going to do, Emily mentioned that I do speak at disability conferences.
Now, Carl, we've got your screen.
So,
you want to stop sharing that and change, go down there and do stop sharing.
Carl, you're muted, so we can't hear you.
down at the bottom bar, Zoom bar. There you go.
Share screen. Okay.
All right, sorry guys, I'm new at this working.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
All right, so I'm at share.
And if you click on the
carrot,
on the symbol, the little carrot thing, then you can go up and change it to enable other people to share.
All right, I got multiple participants share simultaneously.
Yeah.
Okay.
there we go. All right, I can do it. Okay, so what I thought I would do is just share a little bit from our website, from our AbleVoices website, and then also from previous presentations I've given. So the most recent presentation that I gave was at the Tennessee Disability Mega Conference. So some of those pictures will help accompany my story. But like I said, that's my son Aiden in the middle. And this was a few years ago, so he's taller and a lot hairier now. But he was just born with a chromosomal deletion, so he had a seizure disorder along with intellectual and physical disabilities. So, you know, as a parent, you kind of you want the best life for your child, and you really search for ways that they can have all the things that other kids have. And really important to me was for him to be able to have relationships and friendships with people that he goes to school with, and you know, other locations. So so I started taking pictures. So this is Aiden on the first day of kindergarten, and we practiced with that backpack and talking about the bus for quite some time. But you know, when I started taking pictures of Aiden, you know, what I wanted to share with other people is his smile. You know, he has kind of he grins from ear to ear. We've, you know, thousands of pictures with that great smile. So to see that he's a happy kid, you know, that he has interests. Speaking of motors, you know, if it's an airplane or if it's someone mowing the lawn, he's interested. His love of animals, in this case, you know, the trout, I believe, at the Tennessee Aquarium. There's the music. Okay, so there's Dave Matthews on the left. He's a big Weird Al fan, and then also Black Keys. So these
Ooh.
pictures were
He has
really
good
powerful.
taste.
What's that?
He has good taste.
He does have good taste. Absolutely. So, you know, the other kids got to see that he is more like them than he is different from them. Okay. And other kids, you know, they thought it was great. They didn't know he could balance on a horse, or he could, you know, swim down to the depth of, you know, a swimming pool to get his diving toy. That they couldn't believe that he would ride roller coasters. You know, that's something that he could do. And notice dad is on the roller coaster. It's not a picture of mom, because mom is a scaredy cat. But just going through these, this opened up his world, and those relationships started to develop. So here he is with you know, other kids. On the right with the Chewbacca mask, the young man in the green shirt. Aiden and him went to preschool together. They're still friends to this day. We've got elementary school on the top left and middle school on the bottom left. And then here's some buddies from, actually counselors from camp who, you know, are in college now, but well, actually they just graduated from college. And whenever they come home, they stop by to see Aiden. And so much of that comes from the pictures that they saw to learn about him. And that was not only with his peers, but the adults in his life too. So whether it was teachers or coaches at school, or, you know, the bus driver, they all knew Aiden's interests through those pictures. So here's a picture of Aiden kind of sharing what he, we put the pictures in books, and it actually started becoming this back and forth communication between school and home. So the aides and the teachers at school started taking pictures of what Aiden was doing at school, so we could see what he did during the day. So we have, you know, a whole shelf of these photo books that, you know, span Aiden's life, really since second grade. We started putting the photos in a book. And it's just a great way. You can see he points. He really wants you to verbalize what he wants to say. And it's just a great way for him to connect with others. So that led to me getting, I just saw the power of these photographs, and that led to me thinking about uh, photography for people with disabilities. Not necessarily, looking at photos, okay, with the benefit with Aiden, but also possibly taking photos themselves. And so this idea was really, really intriguing to me. And actually, the picture in the top left was the very first kind of photography project workshop that I did with a group of young adults with disabilities. And I think that was back in like 2016. I was on the board of the ARC of Williamson County, and I was just kind of thinking a way I could give back to the organization, with my teaching skills and my photography skills and my passion for improving the lives for people with disabilities. So I, just started doing these workshops kind of one off, and I really enjoyed it. The students really enjoyed it. And I just kept thinking, gosh, I would love to do something more extensive with this population of individuals. And so I did. Emily can attest. She went with me. I did a intensive workshop kind of training in London. It's photovoice.org. So the photo voice, once I discovered the photo voice method, it really struck me. This is exactly what I want to do with people with disabilities. And basically, photo voice is a method or a framework that basically puts cameras in the hands of individuals and allows them to tell their story, maybe share about an issue or a problem in their community, to share it all through pictures. So of course, people with disabilities, verbal communication can be difficult, written communication can be difficult. So it really intrigued me that this visual medium of photography could be another outlet for them to communicate. And there is actually quite a bit of research done on this. This is not something I just thought of out of the blue. I really did I was on Google Scholar and did a lot of research, and there is definitely other stuff out there where this type of thing has been done with individuals with disabilities, but not too much. So after the photo voice workshop, I created a curriculum. And because I was on the board of the ARC of Williamson County, some of the other board members were connected to the schools, the Williamson County schools. And so I wrote a grant for the Arts Council of Williamson County, and they work in tandem. It was an artist in residence grant, and they work with the schools. So I was able to create a pilot project at Centennial High School, and that young lady on the bottom left is actually from that very first class. But what I do is I go into the schools and I teach a course or a project called Photography for Self-Expression, and basically teach the young adults how to use digital cameras, and then also to reflect about themselves. One of the things that I love about this particular age group of special education students, they're 18 to 22 years old, is that they're transitioning from school to adulthood. So you remember that time in your life, you're going from school, this kind of safe place, and then, what comes next? So thinking about, all right, well, what are my strengths? What are my interests? What needs do I have? And basically every week I give them a different photo mission, and they try to accomplish that photo mission by taking photos. And then I go to the classroom and we share those photos every week. And so at the end of it's about a 13-week program. I keep adding weeks. It started out as 8, so I keep thinking of more and more things to do. But at the end of the project, we have an exhibit, and each student is able to share 2 photos they feel really describes himself, and they want the public to know about them. And we also have a picture of the photographer on the label of the photo, and then they give it a caption and a title and all that good stuff. So these are a few. These are some images taken by young adults with disabilities. So I'm trying to think. The picture on the bottom left was a young lady at Franklin High School. That is a picture of her dad, and she calls this photo "Light of Her Life," and it just captures the relationship that she has with her father. The picture on the top left is a young man, Grady, from Ravenwood High School, and he talks about how he's really proud of that he is able to ski, and that he has done that since he was 3 years old and has worked really hard at that. The other 4 photos are actually from our photography club. So many of the young adults from the school program have really enjoyed photography, and they asked me, during that first year that I was doing this project, what's next? And I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what was next. So kind of came up with the idea to start a photography club. So that's another program that we have, is a photography club. And what I'll do is I'll share, if I can get to it, share our website here. So this is the AbleVoices website, and you can see here there's all of our programming. So this is our photography for self-expression. So if you go down here, you can see, for example, Franklin High School. Here's the young lady with a picture of her dad. I create a video at the end of every project that sort of captures the project from the beginning to the end, so that their parents and friends can kind of see what they did throughout the project. And then I show the young adults with their project photos. So for example, this young man, he took his camera, and we provide cameras, by the way, to all of the young adults in the school and community organization programs. So we provide point and shoot cameras, but he took his camera one weekend to the Alabama football game, and I think I'm not an Alabama fan, so sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I think it's called the Mile High Marching Band, something like that. And he used to play the trombone. And so he really, he loved the brass section of the band. But I will tell you, I have the inside scoop on seeing all their other pictures. So I will tell you, there were more pictures of cheerleaders than there were of the marching band. So I think we know really where Brian's interests are more with. So anyway, but it's hard, it's hard to pick, as you all know, it's hard to pick 2 pictures out of the whole, several weeks of, what are you going to, what is going to represent yourself. But it's a fun process. So, so our photography club, those are the young adults who've gone through the Photography for Self-Expression program, and just really want to keep going with photography. It's now a year-round program. We started 3 summers ago. We meet at a different scenic location. Well, we actually have a bus now. We borrow a bus, and so we're able to go to all these locations together, which is awesome. But we go to different scenic locations in the summer every week for about 8-9 weeks. And then during the school year, we go on an outing every month. So can be a wide variety of things. So if you look at, this fall, what have we done this fall? I know I'm behind on adding some of these pictures to the website, but we love doing collaborations with other groups. So we did headshots for a dance company, Backlight Productions, who provides dance and acting and music instruction for the same population, for young adults with disabilities. So they each of our participants had a different job to do during the headshot. So you can see this young man had the stuffed animal to get people's attention. They were on the computer reviewing the photos. We had somebody at the beginning having them sign the photo release. So we try to break it down and teach them a lot of different aspects of photography. This was fun. In October, we went to Bowie Nature Park, and we were actually filmed for a segment for Tennessee's Wild Side. If anybody's familiar with that PBS show, coincidentally, it is going to air this weekend. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. So I did have up here, just to share with y'all, if you go to the Tennessee Wild Side, it's wildsidetv.com. If you go to their website and just look at their schedule, so we're in Nashville. It'll air at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and then if you have NPT2, it'll be on Saturday at 7 p.m. and then on Sunday at 8:30, and then also 3 o'clock p.m. But I will tell you, it will be on YouTube, so I'll be sharing the link if you don't make it. But all of our photographers are really pumped. We're having a viewing party on Friday evening. It's the kind of thing where we'd love to invite everybody, but with COVID, we just really have to, unfortunately, people. But we're gonna make a party out of it. The people that filmed us are coming. They're just incredible, interviewing and filming all of the young adults. Really made them feel special and kind of like a TV star. So, so that was a fun experience, as well as, of course, the beauty of Bowie Park. So you can see some of those photos. So we go all around. We've gone actually as far as Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. We've gone to the Space and Rocket Center, and then Murfreesboro. I don't know. We did we photographed Community Health Systems charity event, one outing. And so I always give them tips on, whatever type of photography we are doing. So it just gives them a lot of great experience for photography. It's a great social experience for them, especially with COVID. We've been fortunate. We've been able to keep up with, we've been able to keep our programming going. And a big reason for that is because so much of what we do is outside. Here we are with another collaboration with Saddle Up. So we had a couple of equestrian photographers, friends of mine, come in and talk to the young adults about equestrian photography. And then we went out, we got a whole tour of the facility and got to take pictures of horses, not only in their stables, but outside as well. And if you're not familiar with Saddle Up is an organization that does therapeutic hippotherapy, I think is the name for it. So therapy while riding a horse. Lots of benefits of it. And so my son did that for a number of years. And so wonderful organization and really great people who work there. So we provided them with the photographs that the photographers took. So, okay, let me take a quick break. I know I'm probably throwing a lot at you. Does anybody have any questions so far?
I had a question about how COVID had affected you, but you really answered it. So
yeah, there's been a few things that we haven't been able to do. We were going to do product photography in January, just this January. And we actually canceled the outing just because it was indoors, and we'll find a way to make up for it. But when it's outside, and the young adults, they're really good about wearing masks. So
That's great. That's really
Yeah.
great.
yep.
That was a question I did have, and you answered it early, and thanks for more information.
Yeah. So so our mission with AbleVoices is basically to amplify the voices of people with disabilities through the powerful medium of photography. And we ultimately want to foster more inclusive communities. So, so the brunt of what we do is teaching young adults photography. With our photography club, not only do the young adults take pictures, but they also make products and sell them as well. So I'm trying to think, it's probably under here, but if we go down to farmers markets, you'll see that the young adults get great work-based experience, not only assembling all the products, so photo greeting cards, larger matted prints. For Christmas, we had photo ornaments, but we set up our booth at local farmers markets all over town. We had several holiday markets, and the young adults get great experience, work-based experience, talking about their photos to the customers, sharing about themselves, why they took that photo, what it means to them, where they were, asking people to sign up on the email list, taking the money, swiping the credit card, whatever it may be. This is all just really great, real life experience for them, all coming from their own photographs. So my goal is, not only do I want them to take the pictures, but I want them to be able to edit the pictures. So we've gotten grants for a class set of iPads. And so we are working on photo editing. And we just actually received, just Sunday. So my goal has been to get a photo printer to teach the young adults how to, the whole printing process. So they can print. I want them really to do as much as they can, be hands-on, do this themselves as much as they can. And we had, it was so just coincidental and lucky. We had 2 people donate the exact same photo printer on Sunday with a ton of paper. So that I don't have to write a grant for photo printers. I'm just going to write a grant for a lot of ink. So I'm really excited. So I really want the process to be full circle, taking the pictures, editing the pictures, printing the pictures, creating the products, and then of course selling them. Laura, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Jen. This is it's great to see you, and it's great to see your work. And
Great
I
to
love
see you
that you're
too.
still doing all this and flourishing. Right? This is just flourishing. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about if there are any particular challenges with working with the population that you are, in terms of either physical abilities or intellectual disabilities that might affect how people can use cameras, and how you teach this. And I'm asking in particular because my student, Rachel Underwood, who I think you've met, who's done photo voice work with at a summer camp for youth with upper limb differences, has written about how that just literally affects the use of a camera in some interesting ways, and required some thinking through. So I'd be interested in hearing, any thoughts that you had about that, or suggestions, or.
Yeah, absolutely. There definitely are challenges. So one of the things, and I want to get to the physical disabilities and the intellectual disabilities, but one thing that just strikes me just with our photography club here, transportation is a huge issue with people with disabilities. It's really difficult for them to, they rely on parents, they rely on caregivers and whoever else to get them places. So I really struggled with, they all want to participate, they all want to be there. How can we get them there? And so that's why we eventually were fortunate enough to be able to get a bus. So instead of all the parents or all the caregivers having to drive their kid to Murfreesboro to drop them off for an AbleVoices thing, no, we'd probably carpool with that. But downtown Nashville, they can just drop them off locally, and then we go down there together. And so it creates great independence. And then it's also just a great social experience for them on the bus for, bonding. In regards to intellectual and physical disabilities, yes. So with our photography club, so you can see most of the young adults in our photography club here don't have as many physical challenges. But the young adults in our school programs, there's definitely some in every class, maybe in a wheelchair, maybe have cerebral palsy where they're not able to really move one side of their body. So in those situations, one of the things that I like about the particular cameras that we use, and this is one adaptation that you can really do with any camera. But one of the things that I like about the cameras that we use is they're larger. They're one of the, and I was really doing research for my own son when I kind of found these cameras, but they're bigger than most point and shoot cameras. If you think about like a tiny little, Canon point and shoot camera, they're really small. You have to have quite a bit of fine motor control for that. But these are Fujifilm fine pix cameras. They are, when I don't tell students this, they're waterproof, because you probably come back with some like toilet shots or some pool shots, or God only knows, they could get creative. They're drop proof, and they're also dust proof. So they're pretty resilient, and they come with this giant wrist strap. So they're just easier for really anyone to use because the buttons are larger, the physical device, everything is larger about it, the screen is larger. But one adaptation that I do that comes in really, really handy with a lot of students is, let me see if I have one here, but this is not what I give them, but this is similar. So I give them a tabletop tripod. And what I do, instead of them spreading the legs out, and this is a really big one, this is something that I just use for filming, but they instead of having to hold the camera with two hands, they can hold the camera with one hand, with the three tripod legs together, and then they're able to press the button.
Kind of like a monopod.
Yeah, it really is like a monopod. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is something
it makes
that
it more stable.
Yeah, I mean, and too, for people that just don't have the fine motor control, like my son cannot hold a camera. He can hold a stick, but he can't hold a camera.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, and like I'll assess, like the first day we give the cameras to the students, I'll assess, who's sticking their finger in front of the lens. Like we talk about, kind of the basics of a camera. You don't want your finger in every picture. So if we start seeing somebody's finger in every picture, we'll give them the tripod. So that is one adaptation that I use a lot. And then the other is with this particular camera is there's a Fujifilm app. So basically you can control the camera from totally 100% with a tablet or a phone. So, for example, my son, like we'll set it, let's say he's taking pictures of what he got for Christmas and he wants to show his classmates. So we'll set up, his toys on the table. We'll set up the tripod and with the camera, and then he'll open the app and he can press the big giant shutter button on the iPad and take the picture that way. So, I would say, that is for students who are more physically challenged, where I've used that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And sadly, I just checked B&H and it looks like the Fuji FinePix is discontinued.
Yeah. So,
Oh man, because
one
it
of
looks like it would be awesome for like a wide range of all kinds of photographers with all
universal
kinds
design,
of
right?
abilities.
I mean, if it's good for you,
Yep.
if it's good for them, it's good for you. And so yeah, one of Fujifilm actually has donated lots of cameras to us, and
Wow.
I check back periodically, and with my buddy Brandon, and he let me know, like, because I do look, like, I think I've bought everyone on eBay that's reasonably priced, just because they work so well for our particular program. So he let me know that Fujifilm is actually discontinuing the entire line of point and shoot cameras.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, because phones have just really taken, replaced. Replaced
Now,
that.
B&H has a used department.
Yeah.
There could possibly be some on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually haven't looked in a while. So if anybody finds some, let me
Yeah.
know where the stash is.
I will say Rachel's campers all decided that they wanted to use their phones.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, it may be that some of the phone software actually is, particularly if you attach the phone to a monopod or a tripod, might
Yeah.
you
And
know,
that's exactly like this
Yeah.
thing. This is bigger than most, but this just basically holds a phone, and so it goes right into a tripod.
Yeah.
So my thing is, we don't use phones because some of the students don't have phones. Some of the students have like an iPhone 2, that's an exaggeration, but at the end we have an exhibit. And so, we need these photos printed really big. And not all phones are going to be able to produce a printable image like for an 11 by 14. Plus, then you get into all the cords, and then how do you, some have Android, some have Apple. You get into the whole thing. And I did that initially. It's all a big learning curve, but Sharon Batorf at the Arc Williamson County helped me put out a call for cameras, and I got all sorts of cameras, some with no batteries, some with no cords. And, then I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to be spending like the vast majority of my time trying to find really old batteries and cords, for cameras that might not even be able to print an image that big.
Obsolete, probably.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I, ditched that idea pretty quick and was like, all right, we need to focus on something else and getting these cameras. But I'm just trying to find
and with phones you've got kind of if they're internet connected, then you have some ethical issues about possibly people sharing things that they don't have people's permission to share. I mean that would be a case with any kind of photo voice project.
And there is the whole, this was now a few years ago, but I did have to sit down with Williams County Schools lawyer and like assure them like there's not going to be any private parts like or whatever. So you know, I used to have to get our photo release because all the students sign a photo release. I used to have to get that approved by their lawyers every semester. Now they finally realize, okay, we know what she's doing. It's all good. So kind of use the same one. But this gives you an idea of, you know, what they do for the exhibit. So here they are. I've created, these are 16 by 20 foam core boards. And I had a plastics guy cut out templates so they don't have to measure. So the hole inside the template is 11 by 14. And so basically they just use glue. We use, it's like extreme super duper stick glue. And that way they're, you know, like I said, my goal is for them to do as much of this as possible. You know, how can we allow them to do it themselves? And, you know, and with support, you know, they don't have to do it by themselves, but as much as possible, you know, and every student is different. So here they are. This is at the Williamson County Community Services Building. They installed a hanging gallery system just for us. So we always have a home gallery that we can go to, and they get to experience it, you know, from beginning to end. So great question, Laura, about the challenges.
Jen,
You know, and I would say too, in regards to intellectual challenges, you know, there's a wide spectrum, just like, you know, any classroom of students that you have. And some are still, you know, in our photography club, some are still using point and shoot cameras. Others have moved on to DSLRs. So it's just seeing where that individual is and how they can, you know, how they can progress and when they're ready to take that next step.
Jen, while you're here at these galleries, do you have a page that shows a sampling of their work? I have just been so impressed with their photography. It's not just, I mean, it's just quite outstanding.
Yeah, so you can see we added, sorry, I will show you that. I'm like a cat. I just got distracted.
wow.
But we do sun prints, you know, I mean, I think it's stuff that we can add, you know, that they would like. And, you know, it's so interesting. Like this young lady here, Hannah, is a part of our photography club. She has autism. And, you know, like her sun print, everything was like perfectly symmetrical, you know, and it just her precision. And that's where her, you know, autism possibly comes into play. But if we look at, you know, every one of these, I gotta put a page up button on the bottom of these, but every project has their 2 exhibit photos. You know, this young lady, she lives with her grandparents and she loves making breakfast for them, you know. You know, this is photography for self-expression. You know, and I do teach them some composition techniques mostly, you know, so horizontal and vertical, taking pictures from different angles makes your picture more interesting, looking at light. So I try to accompany a different composition technique along with each photo mission that they can try. This young lady, one of her work-based jobs is to set the table at a nursing home. And she takes a lot of pride in making that perfect and nice for the residents who live there. This young man, you would not believe how many people have bought a Yoshi greeting card. He doesn't go anywhere without Yoshi. I can't even get him to, you know, go on a photography club outing. Yoshi is like tucked under his armpit all the time because he just has to be there. So it's very fitting. And he does say something about Yoshi in his caption about Yoshi sitting on the bench, feeling alone sometimes, like he feels, and sometimes how he just wants to feel, to be alone. You see a lot of pictures of people's dogs. You know, it's hard not to, you know, want to you know, include a picture of your favorite furry friend. But you know, this young lady, this is a picture of her horse, and she just wanted an up close picture of the horse's eye, and she has a really deep caption. Well, I guess it's right here. Yeah, she you know, she talks about the spirit of a horse, and you know, just loves horses. So it's really interesting to get their insight. Um, let me see. If you look at our photography club, we also do the same thing. So like for summer, this is last summer. So these are all of these are all the pictures that we took from our summer outing. So we went to a sounds game. This was in Leaper's Fork, that pretty wheel. This is a window. Zoe took this picture. It's a window at Cheekwood. If you ever go into their visitor center, look up. I've never looked up before and seen those
Hi.
windows, but there are these really cool triangular windows.
It's true.
More from the sounds game. Like it started raining one day. This is on the bottom right in Murphy Springs. We went to Murphy Springs and Cannonsburg Village, and it just started raining. And what a neat, beautiful pattern in the water. So, you know, a lot of these photographers who are in our photography club, they definitely have interests like more abstract. You know, some are into more abstract photography, some are into people, some are into nature. And when we kind of decide on their photos, I print out, you know, maybe 20 or 30 from each, and we lay them all out. And then they have everybody gets 2 pennies for each participant. And they have to go around and they can look at each participant photos, and they can put 2 pennies on their 2 favorites. So at the end, they can see, like, you know, what their friends like the best, and we talk about why, and maybe why we should consider that for the exhibit. So in our photography club, we have 2 peer mentors. So Bailey is a peer mentor. She's actually Rhett's brother. So Rhett was up here. He has autism. He's the one with Yoshi. So she goes to MTSU, and actually after being involved with AbleVoices, she has decided to minor in photography. So I'm like totally excited about that.
They have a really good program too.
Yeah, they do. They do. So this was taken at Saddle Up by Brock. Both of these are in Leaper's Fork. Eric took both of these, and Eric is a guy, he's like always on his stomach, or he is like hanging upside down from something. So he just has great eye, and gets his body, really moves his body and gets him into those great angles. This is Eleanor. She's another one of our peer mentors. This is Leaper's Fork. This was Ellington Agricultural Center. It was the inside of a gazebo. So yeah, so that gives you some idea as to, you know, what the photos are that they come away with. I will say that, you know, what I wanted to do last summer was get people involved in the Williamson County Fair photography competition. And so I think, you know, I pulled it up earlier, but one of our young adults, Alyssa, she won 2 ribbons. Let me see, where is she on here? She's probably going to be last. Yep, there she is. Oh, okay. This was not last summer. Shoot. She won 2 ribbons at the Williamson County Fair. She got a first place. Here, let me see. Oh, you know what? I did fix this. Hold on. Oh, I thought it was in there.
I think
Sorry.
it may have been in the holiday markets area. That's what we were kind of looking through at the time that you found those pictures.
Okay.
They're on the 4x4 grid background, right?
Here it is. Okay.
Yep. There it is.
But yeah, she won first place for architecture. This was in the, not the professional category, but the other. And then her Heart of Gold, which is a very big seller for photo greeting cards and larger prints, won a third place ribbon. So pretty awesome. So I would love to get everyone to try to submit to the Williamson County Fair for next year as well.
Jen, that is so exciting. I had another question. There's another question up here about, this is such an amazing program. Wondering if it could be used for veterans or other patients with PTSD. And I know you know of some other photo voice kinds of programs and populations. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great question. So absolutely. So this definitely, I think PTSD, veterans, that could be a really great population to do this type of project with. You may want to change the theme a little bit because I work with kind of transition aged youth. Kind of looking inward at yourself. But yeah, I mean, this could definitely apply. So photo voice, the photo voice approach, as Emily and Laura both well know, is, not by any means something that's just used for people with disabilities. This can be used with any group that may feel marginalized or where their voice is not heard about something. So, the very first photo voice project that was done, like in the mid 90s, was two researchers went over to China. They gave a group of women cameras, and this group of women did not have access to health care. So they asked the women to photograph what your life is like because you don't have access to health care. And that's exactly what these women did. And they came back with their cameras, and the researchers took their photos, which really served as data. And they took that data, took those images to the Chinese government, and not told them what women's life is like because they don't have access to healthcare, but showed them. And that made all the difference to change the laws in China for women in regards to healthcare. So, photo voice can be something that creates social change at that level, at a legislative level. Photo voice can also be something that is grassroots, more like what we do for people with disabilities. So, these young adults, they take photos. There's a real benefit, for them to kind of think about themselves and learn about themselves through this whole process. But then there's the other benefit, and that is exhibiting these photos out in the community so that the public can see what, people with disabilities are the largest minority in the United States. And, I think when people think about diversity, they don't include people with disabilities. So, there's still, of course, along with many other things, there's still a lot of stigma and stereotypes that, go along with thinking about people with disabilities. So, education is the key. And that's what these small exhibits, whether that's the Williamson County Community Services Building or, we've been fortunate enough to exhibit at the Nashville Parthenon. That's really their purpose for this. So yes, I think this, has, this would be great for people, veterans with PTSD. I would love to kind of talk. I don't know who shared that question, but
Me. It's Donna. I've worked
Donna,
both with veterans for many years and now work with a lot of traumatic brain injury patients and PTSDs. I work in trauma. So patients in general, most of them have PTSD from whatever trauma they've been through.
Mhm.
The veterans in particular have a huge interest in that, and there could be some collaboration with Operation Song if there was ever an interest in taking some of these images and combining it with some of the music that's been produced and created by these veterans.
Yeah.
So
I'm
anyway.
thinking of another nonprofit. Oh, they have a new facility. I was just there for an event. Is it Operation Stand Down or?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Okay.
They do lots of different activities. They have something similar to like a thrift store. They do Operation Stand Down events for healthcare, where they do like health fairs for a lot of the homeless population. There's so many opportunities with veterans.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a great population. I think, mental health is another, disability. So, when I think about disability, I see it much more broadly than, maybe than the current people that we're serving, which is mainly young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. But
Right.
really, we're members of the Tennessee Disability Coalition, and the Tennessee Disability Coalition really has a much broader perspective of disability. I mean, this could be applied to a group of people who are maybe recovering from cancer or some other type of life-threatening illness.
Right.
Yeah, there's no end to the possibilities, and I get kind of excited when I think about all that.
Yes. We do a TBI clinic every Monday at Vanderbilt, specifically for patients who've gone through trauma and have traumatic brain injury. And just yesterday, I had a patient who was brilliant, IT professional who had a brain injury and just was at wit's end. He couldn't really do his job any longer and just didn't have any way to, he was isolating. And I mean, what a better way to help people come out of their shells again than to give them a camera and help them at least show what they're seeing if they're not able to speak or don't have any desire to. He's able, but he doesn't have words. He's just so broken at the moment. And so there's a lot of opportunity there, I think, to help these people.
Yeah, and I think photography and creating images through a lens is just it just provides another pathway.
Mhm.
And especially for people who just have a hard time, whether you have an intellectual or physical disability or not,
Right.
expressing your feelings, it really can bring about things that maybe you hadn't even realized.
Mhm.
And Jen, I'm going to jump in and as you have broadened this, invite Deshaun to talk a little bit about his Brighter Days program that he's working with. It seems like there's several. Deshaun, I don't know if you feel like talking about this. If you could
I can.
unmute.
You're
Feels like
putting
there's
everyone
a
on the
bit of
spot tonight, Emily.
bit of an overlap.
Great.
Well, yeah, so basically the Edge of Brighter Days program is an after school program run by Nancy Kutcher. It's an after school program and summer program that I used to go to when I was a kid. And since I love photography and a few of my buddies do and love the arts period, we would go there every now and then just to come by and share our passions with them. And we've done a series of photo walks and photo exhibits with their work. And they've amazed me and taught me a lot of things just by the way they see things and just their expression and how they took to it so fast. So, I mean, that's essentially what it is.
And see, I think what you said right there is something, Jen, you have been alluding to. It is you're both providing a pathway for them to express themselves, but you're learning from them too. Which I feel like a lot of times that's one of the things that impressed me about that Photo Voices philosophy, that it's the people with the resources don't necessarily, like money, privilege, cameras, film, printers. In our case, in the photographer's case, we're not necessarily the ones with the solution. We're not living it. We're not walking their steps. And some of us have more of a connection than others, but I feel like that's one of the strengths of what you're doing in AbleVoices is letting the kids express. I mean, self-expression and empowerment is pretty important.
Yeah.
Which I know we're running out of time. It's like 10 minutes. You told me to let you know. 10 minutes before our usual closing down time, and a number of people putting in comments or texting that this might be a program that individuals or SNAP as a group might want to be supporting. So do you have any ideas immediately, or do you want to just, other than giving you a grant? I mean, as you know, we have a total budget of, I think our assets add up to $40, but
Right.
We have more than $40, but we don't have a whole lot.
no, maybe
It's like
triple that.
200 and something.
But
But
the
that doesn't
people
mean
power that
perhaps
you have.
we could meet with Jen at some point and find a way that we could help.
Yeah. So I was just trying to find a few more pictures. These are a few more pictures just to throw up on the screen of from some of the young adults. I will say this this chocolate milk picture down here, that has been one of our most, that's why I have it on the home screen of our front page. It's been a real popular one. It's a funny story about a young adult who just absolutely loves chocolate milk, and I think he's probably sold, gosh, I would say like maybe he's made $600 so far off that, just selling small prints off that.
Nice.
But yes, let's talk about how you all could help. I would love that. One of the ways, let me get out of here. One of the ways, if anyone's interested, is on our photography outings. We love having photographers join us. The group of young adults on our photography outing, they're just a great group. They're just so welcoming. They're so interested in hearing from others. Whether it's just you coming along and helping, some of them out. Our photography outings are 3 hours long. We've had photographers offer to kind of share their expertise. So I think in one summer club, we've had 3 summer clubs now, so I'm kind of getting my years mixed up, but I think it was not this past summer, but the summer before. A friend of mine, Michelle Connor King, she's a pet photographer. She actually works at a veterinarian clinic in Franklin. And so we were able to schedule one of our outings at the veterinarian clinic, and she had a few of the veterinarians and the other staff bring their dogs, and we were able to kind of set up these different stations for taking photos of the dogs. The veterinarian talked about us. I'm an educator at heart, so there's no just screwing around on these photography outings. We've got to. I always just kind of want to squeeze in some good learning. If you have a particular expertise that you'd like to share with the group, that is a lot of fun for us. Like I said, or even tagging along on the outings and just helping them out. Another thing is that we have, I guess I can stop sharing my screen. We have some other sessions. So like with our photography club, we have photo editing sessions, and that's something where it's really nice to have some extra people to, help maybe a couple of the photographers at a time as we go through the kind of the editing steps. And then we also have these sessions on Fridays called Fun Fridays. Everything with an F is with a PH in AbleVoices. My husband thinks that's really stupid, but it's not his organization. So it bothers him. It makes him like cringe, fun with a PH. But so we get together and, just depending on different times of the year, we may work on photo editing in the summer. And then in the fall, we were really working on making photo ornaments and photo greeting cards. And, like I said, I want to incorporate printing in with that as well. So it's great to have some help during those sessions as well. So, as we create more of a routine with our programming, there's, it would be great to have that more consistent help. And, we really do look, what I would like is to have people that, don't just show up once, but want to build a relationship with these young adults and get to know them on more of a personal level so that they're, able to not only help them with whatever the task is at hand, but, building relationships. It all goes back to my son Aiden with photographs, and photography. What is the real, there's so many benefits. So that's one of my goals with having people volunteer and help out.
Well, thank you.
so much.
Thank you,
was
Jen.
awesome.
Yeah, you're
Jen, could you share your contact information in the chat?
sure.
So
Yeah,
we can follow up and reach out for more information.
absolutely. That would be great. Thank you. And I didn't even get to the photo advocacy stuff, Emily.
Well, we'll have to have you back.
Yes, right. No. We're done. You don't have to sit through any more of me, but
Yeah.
It was great to see you.
Yes.
thank you. Great to see
Yeah,
you.
we
all.
miss you, Jen.
Well, I miss you guys too. It's so, but at least I haven't just been twiddling my thumbs.
No.
Never thought that for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. Love getting to share and hear from you all as well.
So, Carl, maybe when you send out the information about the Clarksville show, you can give a link to Jen's website.
Okay, we can do that.
And I don't know, you probably don't want to give her. Does your website have like your contact information, Jen?
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. You can share my email and my email. That's fine. But in the chat I just put my email and my cell phone number. I'll put our website too.
Perfect.
And I just updated our wish list with lots of ink cartridges. So if anyone is
Sounds good.
we got our printers, right? Need the next step.
Well, you'll go through a lot of ink.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
Creative. Well, thank you again, Carl.
Yes, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We enjoyed it very much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Jen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good seeing you, Jen. Hope to maybe we can find other ways of helping you out too, for people who are too busy to volunteer.
Yeah, awesome.
Ink
I appreciate
cartridges.
it, Carl. All right. Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night. Good to
Bye-bye.
see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I guess I'll see the rest of you guys next month, if not before. I'll try to get all this stuff sent out tomorrow. Have a good night.
Perfect. Nice meeting everyone. Have a great evening.
It's nice meeting you too, Jay.